A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, normally at Quaker Steak and Lube on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. But as you can tell from the background behind us, we are not at the Lube today.
What?
This is
I had lunch there.
This is a beautiful setup, though.
Yes,
we are at Timberland Goon, give a little bit of the background. I got to tell you that the place itself is absolutely amazing.
Yes, they completely renovated this. They're having their grand opening here March 19th, but this is a friends and family soft opening today. But they've done a spectacular job in the offices and the actual building itself. So it's over in Pleasant Gap. It was an M&T 10 years ago, but Timberland's been here for a while. They've helped me out multiple times, and some stuff I had done with my t-shirts and sweatshirts business for the Players show, and a lot of this stuff I do my banking here, and it's Joel and the guys are great to work with, and we're happy to be here doing whatever we can for them. But yeah, they've done a great job. I mean, I was telling Joel a funny story earlier. So I didn't get my license until I was 22, 23 years old.
Really?
So, yeah, I never did because I was 16. My parents said my grades weren't good enough, so they didn't let me have a license. So I said, all right. And They turned 18, and I was like, well, I have people driving me around now, a.k.a. girlfriends, so I really don't need to have a license. So I played my whole career here, Jeff. And then, it's right down the street is the driver license place.
Yep.
So I went there at 22. I think I was 22 or 23, and
wow.
I went in there to get my license, and I passed the test, and I went out, and the state trooper was like, okay, let's go do a driving test right now. So 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was a traffic jam around here, so I just drove around a little circle, little neighborhoods back here, in a traffic jam. So I never got over like 12, 15 miles an hour, and all the guy wanted to do was talk about football and Joe Paterno. And then I get done, and I didn't even have to parallel park, and that was like one of my weirds. I was sort of skittish about it, and so I finally get my license, and he goes, hey, congratulations, you passed. You have your license, but I got some bad news for you. You had an underage drinker when you were 20 years old. We got to take your license for 3 months.
No kidding.
They took it when I was 23. Yeah, and I was just every time I drive by that police station or the driver's place, the police
amazing.
station, I just laugh about this. But yeah, I mean, this is right down the street from Center Hall, going over the mountain here. So. Yeah, like I said, Joel, me and I and his wife go back a little bit. Big Eagle fans, Philly fans, all that stuff. So, but they've done a great job. I love the whole safe thing of the bank atmosphere. It's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, no, maybe we'll try to show around a little bit here, but yeah, Timberland Federal Credit Union down here in Pleasant Gap. We are thrilled to be here. Open house gets underway as we're going off, correct?
Yeah, this is friends and family soft opening and stuff like that. The grand opening here is March 19th, 161 West College Ave. So
yeah, they just sent out, got a notice from CBICC yesterday, I think it was, this week anyway. So very, very cool.
And the parking lots, everything, the building looks great. Everything's up to date. It's very nice.
Yeah, we are.
And they're easy to deal with. That's the easiest thing. You come in here, they know your name. It's a local thing. You got to be a member, either work or live in Center County to be able to use the Timberland Federal Credit Union. So I guess there's other 5 or 6 different counties around here. So, but I mean, we have a couple.
Yeah, but those other counties
we're doing sales tickets right now.
Nowhere near as good as Center.
3.99 annual % rate for a home equity loan. That's pretty damn good. And 1 year certificate.
Pretty darn impressive.
CD at 4.25%. So, and then again, like I said, this is like doing business with your neighbors, and that's the good thing. It has that old school, when you go to a bank when you were a little kid, everybody knew your mom and dad's name. You knew all of their names, and they were local in the community. And Timberland Federal Credit Union is definitely in the community. So.
Yep. Just a couple of programming notes. Jed Donahue's show, which normally follows ours, is not airing today. Personal things going on. He'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, I did see that.
But so we will. So we will have Fox Sports airing from 4 to 6, and then Jim Galati's show will be tomorrow from 6 to 7. So we're kind of back to normal tomorrow. But Fox Sports, again, will follow our show here this afternoon at 4 o'clock. We also have lots of high school wrestling coming up this weekend. It is the Southwest Regional Tournament. Now, we'll have updates from the West region, which is where the AAA teams, State College and Bellefonte, will be competing. We'll keep you up to date on everything that's happening there with the 7 Bellefonte kids and 6 State College kids who qualified for the West Regional. That's being held at Cannon McMillan High School. And then Todd and Norm Brown will be in Altoona. We'll have live coverage and follow, in particular, the 17 Center County wrestlers from Penns Valley, Bald Eagle area, and Phillipsburg, Osceola. That action will get underway at 4:30 on Friday. We'll have I'll have a little bit of an extended sports cast, if you will, from 4 to about 4:15, and then we'll hand it off to Todd and Norm here Friday afternoon, and they'll have complete coverage of all 3 sessions Friday evening, Saturday morning, starting at 9 o'clock, and then the finals, I believe, get underway at 5:30, and so we'll be on the air at about 5:15 on Saturday.
You'll be all right. You're gonna have a couple weekends off here, Jeffrey.
Those kids. Well, I'll be monitoring that stuff closely. I'll get those guys on the air and be getting some work done at the station while we lock in. And then, the following weekend, PIAA state championships, and of course, we have the Big Ten wrestling championships, which will be held in Evanston, Illinois, on the Northwestern campus, and expecting that we'll have 8 wrestlers from Penn State seated in the top 2 at the Big Ten tournament. Probably 5 number 1 seeds and 3 number 2 seeds for Penn State. But we'll learn that here in the coming days. But certainly some very high expectations for this Penn State team and what it can accomplish here in the postseason.
Speaking of local wrestlers, there was a kid in American, right, from Bald Eagle area?
Yeah, Cohen Beatty.
Pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah, he was super excited. Maybe not as excited to face Luke Lillidahl, who's, I think a legit national title contender. He's up to number 8 as Lillidahl in the national rankings this week, moved up 1 spot from 9th last week. Braden Davis is actually up 1 spot as well. He's up to number 6 now at 133. And again, Penn State has the remaining 8 weight classes then with the wrestlers ranked either number 1 or 2 in the country. It's
we yap a
bordering on
little wrestling right now. Can I yap with you? No,
sure.
when football's over, Joe always used to, like, I'm sure James did it, but I guess it's different now with the playoffs and the conference title. But do those guys get a couple days off? Or is, like, the wrestling thing, if you're taking days off, you're losing time? I mean, their training schedule, because there's a 2-week window from the American match until the Big Tens, and there's obviously another 2 weeks between that and the Nationals. I mean, do they change their schedules up, like, practice-wise?
Yeah, I mean, they'll adjust. It becomes a little more individualized. I mean, they're obviously having team practices, and you still have the mandatory off days and all of that.
And that's mandatory is from the NCAA or from?
Yes,
okay.
But I mean, most of those guys are going to be doing some sort of a workout every day. Whether there's no organized, like, coaches can't be around. You can't have organized practices, but these guys.
We were always told go in and get 3 or 4 workouts in during the week. Whether that's a lift or a run, just get in, get a sweat going, and that's only for the 2 weeks before we start practicing again for the bowl game. But these guys are high energy dudes, the wrestlers, and I mean, it's quick to get out of shape, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah, you can't, like, just take days off.
But you're going to start nursing your injuries back and recover.
Yeah, and again, it'll depend a little bit on how different guys are feeling. Obviously, there's been. I've been trying to shake for 2 weeks plus now. Whatever it is, there's a few different things I think going around. And Penn State, the wrestling team got hit by it last week. Now the starters, obviously, Davis was the only one that was not in the lineup against American, but not everybody was necessarily feeling completely 100%. leading up to that duel. So you're doing everything you can, obviously, to get everybody healthy, feeling good, feeling fresh, and all of that.
Yeah, you the same thing.
But there's some limits to what you can do.
You're still just in the middle of nowhere. I just start having a coughing bit, and I'm like, geez, and I could hear your voice and my voice are both pretty deep still. Get a little chest congestion, but I don't feel bad. I mean, it's been the same thing for me for 2.5 weeks. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I said, well, they were like, I was talking to Joel here. He's an Eagles fan. He's like, what'd you do for the game? I said, well, I was in Fort Myers, Florida, covered in beach towels and sheets and covers because I was having the cold sweats all day.
Miserable.
Oh God, and again, it's been 2+ weeks now that I've been dealing with this, and you too. But I don't feel bad, but I do wear out quick, and I can't imagine that as an athlete, as a wrestler, this, because that's like, you start coughing in the middle of practice. I mean, geez, and it's just like, I do remember this. In 1993 and 4, there was a bug that we had. It was very similar. It was like around for like 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, and it was like you couldn't get it away from it, and we would just keep on handing it back to each other. And I guess when I came back in 05 and 06, I had something where it was like it was 05. I had about a 3 or 4 week, and I was just like I could not kick it. And this is about the same damn thing. So this is now the third time. But it just, I mean, you guys are in such close contact as wrestlers. Like, I mean, that stuff's got to go around so fast to get through the whole team. Yeah. Jeez Louise. I mean, you've talked about that in the past with COVID, how close contact these guys are in and how easy it was to spread. So, oh, man, I don't wish this on anybody because it's like the energy level you have, right?
Yeah.
It's like you do anything. I tie my shoes like that. I'm like, whew, goodness gracious.
Penn State hockey, Goon. I just want to talk a little bit. If you didn't get a chance to see the games this weekend, that is, I mean, they've been impressive, obviously, since the start of the new year. But what that team did this past weekend in East Lansing, and it was interesting. Obviously, I'm at the American meet, and Rodney, who does the PA for hockey, also now does it for wrestling. So we were talking a little bit about just how remarkable the hockey team was, and excited to see what they could do in that Michigan State series. And as we're leaving, he's like, "Yeah, it's tied up 2-2," and I don't know if he was talking to Tripp or somebody out there, but he said apparently it is just like top-notch hockey.
It was
both teams really good playing. So Penn State ends up winning that one in the shootout. But then Saturday's game is, I mean, so it's almost presumed that Michigan State is going to win the Saturday game
because they needed to, because senior day.
That's what they've done. They're 10-0. Were 10-0 in Saturday games this season. And yes, you add to that the fact that, all right, a little extra motivation because they lose in the shootout the night before, a little added motivation because they are playing to retain the top spot in the Big Ten rankings, and a little extra motivation because it is the final home game of the season, and obviously the final home game for the seniors in their remarkable Michigan State careers. So for all of those reasons, I like pretty much everybody, including I think most diehard Penn State fans, are like, yeah, man, it would have been nice to get the W in regulation last night, but
getting a point,
not bad.
We had talked about that.
Yeah, well,
getting a point was huge.
Yeah, getting 2 points, it's even better. And so, yeah, and it's like no big deal. So you're expecting Michigan State to come out flying, and here we go. Well, they couple of turnovers go the other way, Penn State's way, and Penn State, to its everlasting credit, I mean, puts both home in short order, and all of a sudden, there's Penn State up 2-0, and it was interesting because we were out, so I'm listening to the start of the game, and Brian Tripp, who does a terrific job with the play-by-play for them, he is saying, he must have said 5 times, this is a great start, and there is a long way to go. There is a long way to go. A lot of time remaining. A lot of hockey left. And I'm like, no doubt. And just cautioning, let's not get too caught up here. But man, what a start! Well, the game grinds on. Sergeyev was unbelievable in that. I mean, just standing on his head. And Penn State is grinding it out. They're doing a very good job withstanding some Michigan State attacks. You can see Michigan State starting to get a little frustrated as the second period's wearing on. They get to the third, you're still sitting there at 2-0. And then, kind of felt like, all right, Penn State puts the game away, get the power play goal. And here we go. Everything is setting up beautifully. Right. And then Michigan State scores, and you're like, oh, okay. And then they score with 8.5 seconds left. Yep. And you're like, there's no way.
Is there
there's no way.
No way.
And sure enough, they get it, and they had an opportunity there, but Penn State withstands it. Again, what this team has done in terms of the turnaround is just beyond impressive. And it feels like a very real possibility. So they get 5 of a possible 6 points at top-ranked Michigan State last week. Michigan State drops to number 3. Minnesota is now number 2 in the rankings. Minnesota comes in this weekend to Pagola. But all of a sudden, Penn State is sitting there with a chance to get into the NCAA tournament field. And Goon, I'm just telling you, if this team does get in,
nobody wants to play.
Look out, because they are playing right now, and we'll see it. Momentum in sports and in hockey in particular can change in a heartbeat. But if they can, let's dream big. If they can sweep this series, or at least get, let's say, 4 points out of the 2 games with Minnesota here this weekend. Again, they go into the Big Ten tournament with a weight of momentum. And again, I think playing as good a hockey as really anybody in the nation right now.
Yep.
And they have what everybody says you have to have in postseason hockey, which is a red-hot goaltender, really good goaltending. They have offensive star power. Aiden Fink continues. He's the one that scored the power play goal on Saturday. Fink now leads the nation in points. I think he's second in goals with 23. The 23 goals also ties the Penn State record for most goals in a season. But with Mac, across the board, they're just everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing. The goal scorers are scoring. The defensemen are mucking it up. The goaltender is standing on his head when he needs to.
They're killing power plays. They're scoring on the power play.
And they
got it all working, Bubba.
And there is a ton of confidence now.
Yep.
And Guy Godowski could win. Get another milestone victory here. Well, I was going to say Friday night, at either night. If he gets it, he'll get to the 400 career win mark. And again, this team, they were sub 500 overall at the break going into the new year, and they were winless, 0-8 in Big Ten games. And now we're talking about them having a very real chance to get into the NCAA tournament field. And if they do, again, Goon, it's hockey, crazy things can happen. And certainly, again, Michigan State is going to be right there. Minnesota is going to be right there. Boston College is, I think, now number 1. I mean, there a lot of really good teams, and certainly Penn State's not won't go in as the favorite. But I'm telling you, man, I will not be surprised if at the end of the day, and they're pretty openly talking about, we think we can win the whole doggone thing here now.
They're that cocky right now because
they should be. They've earned that confidence.
Yep. Guy was, as we had talked about a lot the last few years, he always has these guys peaking at the right time of year, and this is the right time of the year to be peaking. I mean, with that bad start, and it was a bad start, but they are so young. And then they're peaking right now. Imagine 2 years from now, year and a half from now, year from now, 3 years from now, with the confidence they're building that way. But with Guy, I mean, they go from losing all those games and before the new year to actually, having a shot to host a Big Ten playoff game series. Yeah, I think that's the goal, is to host a series in the Big Ten. But I mean, after they played at Michigan State, I don't think it matters home or away. I truly
agree
don't.
with
The
you
way
right
they
now.
shut down the number 2 team in the country last week. I mean, everybody and their mother said that Penn State, you and I were sitting there saying Thursday, if they can get a point or two out of this weekend, that is a successful trip.
Yep.
And here they go get the 2 points in the first night, and then they win the game outright on the second night against the number 2 team in the country. And then they're going against the number, Minnesota's now overtaken Michigan State as the number 1 team in the Big Ten. So, hey, if you want to go in again, play against the best, they're going to have that in the last 2 weeks. And, they get through this weekend and they come through it pretty clean. They did the last one. Look out, man. It might be a freaking a run for a freaking cup, a Frozen Four possibly.
Yeah,
I did a commercial. I got to look it up where the Frozen Four is at this year.
It is going to be just a whole lot of fun. Penn State basketball gets back-to-back wins now. I don't know.
It's frustrating, man, because it's like if you would just won half of those games that you were so close into, instead of losing 9 of the 10, if you had won 5 of the 10, 4 or 5, I mean, just the difference.
Such a different feel.
Lord. So, they dug the hole. They're trying to come out of it. I mean, there is a possibility of getting into the Big Ten title. Big Ten.
Yeah, they still have some work to do.
To get out there.
And, Indiana, I know it's at the Jordan Center, and it's certainly don't rule Penn State out, but man, was Indiana impressive over a suddenly slumping Purdue team. That's one of the more interesting storylines here in the conference is Purdue now 4-game losing streak, and that second half against Indiana. I mean, I guess depending on how you want to look at it, it was either brilliant play by Indiana or lousy play by Purdue, or probably a combination of the two. But very concerning right now for Purdue, and Indiana, meanwhile, may be playing itself into an NCAA tournament team here. Obviously, be a big win for Indiana to get, just in terms of the resume building and more not getting a nick against that resume when they visit Penn State here tomorrow night.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because did we not play Indiana at the Palestra this year?
Was that Indiana at the Palestra? Yeah.
So that was an Indiana home game. That's I'm just making sure that we were playing.
No, that wouldn't be right. No, it was a Penn State hat. Yeah, it must not have been.
So are we at? I'm just making sure that now I'm looking at it. I mean,
yeah,
I thought we were on the road tomorrow because of that, but
no. Penn State's home tomorrow night. Indiana will be at the Jordan Center. So a big game for the Nittany Lions tomorrow night. Is it at Indiana?
Yeah, that's where I was confused, because I know that we played Indiana in the Palestra,
gotcha.
and I couldn't think. I was like,
no,
how the hell are they getting a home game out of the Palestra?
Yeah.
But there's one of those games right there where that was a close game at halftime in that Palestra game, and then Indiana just came out and shot the lights out, and Penn State couldn't hit the broadside of a barn later in that game. So that's one of those games that we're talking about. If those 10 or 12 games, if we had half of those go Penn State's way, we would not be sitting here worried about getting into the Big Ten playoffs. So, and you know what? I'm okay with 4 teams not making the tournament, the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, there's now 18 teams, so I get it, but I know the whole play-in thing that you used to have, but I mean, you added 4 more teams. They couldn't add a whole new day to that. So it is what it is. And Alan just checked in. The Frozen Four this year is in St. Louis. Alan,
that's a good.
We're not talking today, Alan, because you know what's going on tonight, buddy.
That's a
Flyers,
good,
Penguins.
yes, indeed. Remember when that game used to matter?
Something?
Yeah.
Or I'd be wearing my Flyers shirt. You'd have
days.
your Penguin shirt on. Yeah. Yeah, well, the Flyers have been in this rut for 7 years now, 6 or 7 years. And you're going to be in it for a while, too, I believe.
I think that's
so.
Right.
Do you think that they, as the Pittsburgh Penguins, are rebuilding, but just still trying to hang on to their old stars? But I mean, I guess that somebody had made a mention of it online on social media when they sold Gensel last year or the year before. That's when they made the commitment. Okay, we're packing it in, but we're still going to keep Crosby and Malkin here, just to sell tickets.
I don't know if it's just to sell tickets. I think you're trying to win games. This season has just been exceptionally frustrating. I think for the Penguins, because it feels like the ingredients are there and it's just not coming together, to put it mildly. So
and it's frustrating. It really is. You're used to a team. I mean, I'm not trying to bust your chops here, Ironhead, but coming off the Steelers end of their season, and you have the Penguins, and the old school Philadelphia Eagles, and the usual letdown I would get for decades, and then the Flyers would be on. The Flyers are on. They're going to be in the playoffs. They'll make a run. They didn't win no cups in my lifetime, but hey, that's sort of where you are at right now. Where there's really, I got done watching the Super Bowl, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, okay, well, it's time to get into hockey and stuff, but I just can't get into the Flyers right now. I still can't, man, because it is so frustrating watching them. And I'm not a Tortorella fan, never have been. I remember.
It is amazing what difference a coach and whether or not you like your coach makes with any team.
I've watched enough of my teams play against the Tortorella coach teams, and I completely despised him then. And now all of a sudden he's your coach, and it's like, oh Lord, and he's still the same way. And it's just like I can't get past some of those times. But I'll still. It's worth a case of beer to me and Alan. So we had our bet yesterday, the Phillies Pirates, but they got rained out.
Yeah.
They got weathered out yesterday. So Alan, you saved a case of beer yesterday, bud, because the Buccos ain't going to beat the Phillies. That's the only time you get a chance to beat the Phillies is the what is it? What are they? Cactus? Not the cactus. The grapefruit league. Jeez, Louise.
Yeah.
Do you go? Have you ever gone down to Bradenton?
I never have. Scott and I just talked about that this morning. Yep, I never have.
I guess you're more involved with. You're still so deep in the wrestling that it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
You only got about a 2-week window, maybe a 10-day window after the wrestling nationals, and then the spring, and then the baseball leagues are over there moving up here by early April. I have gone to the Phillies a couple times, and it is. If there are any Philadelphia fans out there or Pirate fans, I highly recommend taking a trip down to Florida and going to see some of those games, because the opportunity to see some of the former players and current players, you're never going to have that in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. You're never going to have it where, like, I remember sitting around, me and my buddies were out in the Tiki Bar out left field in Clearwater. And I'm sitting there, Darren Dalton, John Crucker out there, Larry Anderson. They're talking to Ryan Howard and Chase Utley, and I'm just like, "You're 10 feet from them." I'm like, "Hey, can I buy those 5 guys a shot?" Hey, you're never going to have that opportunity, when they're in the regular season in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. So the opportunity to meet some of those older players and then the current players at the Grapefruit League level is really, really cool. And I really like that whole aspect of it, too, was having to see those guys, being able to see those guys.
Again, we are at Timberland Federal Credit Union. They have done some amazing work inside here at their facility, which is down in Pleasant Gap. If you're coming from State College, it's just before you get to the light, a little ways before you get to the light on the left-hand side. Timberland Federal Credit Union, Goon, grand opening is coming up on March 19th, kind of a soft opening that they allowed us in for here today. But just a great place if you're looking for a bank that can provide kind of that local service for you. Timberland is the place.
Like when you walk in, they're going to know your name, and you're going to know the bankers' names and the people behind the counter, and you're going to know the managers' names, and they're going to say, hey, you got to fill out this paperwork, and then you're going to say, hey, listen, here's I faulted on this, I defaulted on this, I did this, I did that. I screwed some stuff up, and it's not dealing with somebody you have no idea who in the big bank world. So these guys have been great. Everything I've done business-wise the last 5-6 years. So I can't thank these guys enough for everything they've done for us.
No, it's a great place. We encourage you to come on down, check them out for yourself. And we are thrilled to be here on our Tuesday edition. We'll be back at our normal home, Quaker Steak and Lube, for Thursday's
New
show.
menu.
And on Friday, again, we will begin our coverage of the Southwest Regional Wrestling Championships and the AA tournament. Todd and Norm Brown will have complete coverage for you. That'll get underway right around 4:15 on Friday afternoon. We're going to take a break here. We are back with much more. Pat Kraft, Penn State's athletic director, met with the media yesterday. Some interesting discussion and conversation coming from that. And we will talk about that and much more as we continue with our Tuesday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Again, we are coming to you from Timberland Federal Credit Union.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates, Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going with
97 The Fox. The Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Tuesday afternoon. Again, we are at Timberland Federal Credit Union. You can check them out at timberlandfcu.org. That's timberlandfcu.org. And you can find them here where we are today for their soft opening. But their grand opening is coming up on March 19th here at 161 West College Avenue in Pleasant Gap. And
the chairs are
again, yeah, I'm telling you, they have
capsule over here.
They have done it right. There's no question,
buddy. When I'm swimming in a
that.
chair, hip wise and shoulder wise, that's a big old chair, buddy.
Yes,
this is beautiful.
I hear you. Interesting press conference yesterday with Pat Kraft.
Yes, it was.
I kind of re-emphasized what your point has been, Goon, which is, man, what a difficult challenge it is, just because there's so many consistently moving parts. I mean, it's a challenging job. It's always been a challenging job, but more so these days because, again, you're trying to plan for a future that you don't know what it's going to look like and what is going to be available. Yep. In terms, just financially. I mean, in a lot of other ways as well. But just, you're trying to plan out the finances. Well, right now, you're kind of, we think it's going to be $22 million that is going to be allocated to the student athletes, and we're figuring that out. I think it's interesting because I do think different athletic directors and different athletic programs are looking at this landscape very differently. And I think Pat kind of touched on, Penn State takes pride in having a broad-based, successful athletic program. And what successful means is being competitive at a national level.
Correct.
And graduating student athletes at a very high rate. Like, both of those components are still very important at Penn State. And I'm not saying they're not important at other places, but I don't think they're as important at some places as they are at others. And I think at some places it's like, yeah, man, we really want to be successful in football and basketball. And where we can provide opportunities, that'll be nice for the other sports too.
Yep.
Now, there are certainly other programs, and you look at Ohio State and Michigan and in the Big Ten, and certainly others as well, where it's like, nope, there's a lot of pride there in having success again, kind of across the board. It was interesting. We went up to the Penn State women's gymnastics meet, my wife and kiddo and I, on Saturday, and so I'm kind of following along on the basketball game. My wife used to coach young gymnasts, like very young gymnasts. So she has that background and competed herself. And
we're on the same wavelength, buddy.
Has a lot of interest. So I'm up there and I'm following the basketball, updates pretty frequently as we're watching the gymnastics. But they're going against Ohio State. Excuse me. Both teams are good. Neither team is great. Like, neither team's contending for a national title, but really good competitive meet. And Penn State posted its highest score of the season by a good bit, by 0.4 plus. And just watching them respond to the pressure, and that's how you handle pressure, and they seemed to be largely embracing it, welcoming the opportunity. That is fun to me to see, regardless of the sport. And again, I don't get to as many sports as I would like to. We usually get to a field hockey game each year. We usually get to at least one of each of the soccer teams' games each year. we're trying to. I have not been to a hockey game yet this year. This would be the first time, I think, since they've gone D1. If we don't get there this weekend, and I'm just not sure. We're trying to see if we can maybe make Saturday work. But
how old's Reggie? 7,
he's
8, 9?
9. Yeah.
Well, there's your answer.
So, well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
so we'll see what ends up happening there. But
he's 9. My God, Jeff.
The gymnastics team, again, it has been slowly getting a little bit better. One of the things that I am just worried about, and I think Pat Kraft is doing everything he can. I really do to make sure Penn State keeps as broad-based of an athletic programs as they can. I really worry long-term about those opportunities for some of these sports. Now, I had a really interesting discussion with somebody who's been a long-time fan of college athletics and has been involved in high school sports, about the future and what it means. And it's interesting. Different people have different perspectives. And I think we might have talked about this once before on the air, Goon, but it is one of those things where in my, like the theory of, hey, let's not give athletic scholarships for academic institutions. Let's bring the best students into the academic institutions. And hey, while you're here, if you want to play sports, we'll provide you an opportunity. We'll provide the facilities. We'll get you some uniforms, whatever. Which, by the way, is how things started in college athletics. We didn't just, as colleges first started, hey, let's, how many scholarships are we providing for the athletes that we're trying to attract to our campus? So it's not an unreasonable position to have that, hey, this is good for the overall, and I get the argument. I also am just one of those people. I love big time college athletics. Well, how do you define big time? That's a fair point too, because if you just put on TV, like if you dressed the North Dakota State football team and you put Penn State uniforms on them and they played, I don't even know who another powerhouse is I'm not even sure if they're a division.
South Dakota State.
So, and you put Alabama uniforms on them.
Yep.
Would you know, because they're going to be relative to each other, the same speed. Well, in person, I think you would be able to tell, like, man, something's weird here. But on TV, I don't know. It's an interesting question, and I don't necessarily want to get sidetracked there. Yeah. But part of what makes big time college athletics big time is that we just know it's big time. Like, we know what's involved in terms of the money, the facilities, and yes, the speed, the size, all of those things.
Pounds.
Yeah, and again, it's across the board. Whether it's you certainly know it in football and basketball, but you know it in baseball, you know it in wrestling. You can go to a Division III wrestling match and see terrific, top-notch wrestling. Guys just aren't as strong, aren't as physically skilled as
because they weren't recruited consistently because they didn't have the measurables.
So I understand the argument that, hey, man, this is good. There's a couple of things about it. One is with the cost of college consistently rising, and listen, we're heading to a changing society, and this is another whole discussion that we could have sometime on whether all of these sports, we've talked about football and basketball, could there come a time where they're maybe affiliated with the university, but not directly related, more of a they're correlated to the universities.
Agreed.
Yeah, you could see it heading that direction. That's certainly, I think, a possibility. I think in much the same vein, you could see that develop with some of these other sports where, hey, yep, there are certain programs that want to be quote unquote big time, and we want to provide opportunities for young people to follow in whatever sport it may be. The concern I have, is I don't know if ultimately it's just football and basketball that are providing these scholarship opportunities. What does that do to the other sports in terms of the youth and high school interest and those kids trying to follow that path?
Yeah, buddy. I had lunch with Chris Pugliani this afternoon before we came over here to set up our Timberland. And this was our hour-long conversation of just like how just far scoping this whole thing is. And like we're talking about Pat's interview. And I, you know what? I give Pat a lot of credit for doing that interview because a lot of people would be just hiding away from it a little bit, in my opinion, and not wanting to have to answer those tough questions of why you're going to get a GM. What are you looking for? But Pat went up there and answered those questions like a man, and it was great. But we're sitting there, and it's just such a far, wide open, like what could be going on 3 or 4 years from now? What could be going on a year from now? Or like I went back and I talked to Chris and I said about, the 30 wrestling scholarships that how many teams are going to do that? I mean, are teams going to be obligated to have 30 scholarships? Or who's going to do it? Who's not going to do it? Baseball, softball. I mean, it's crazy what we're thinking about when we're talking about last week. And that it's, and then you have the NIL money coming into it. And then, it's a whole nother subject that I want to get into a little bit. But I know you're talking about, what Pat was doing in his press conference. And again, we say it every show, right? We have to do it. That's not a job I want right now because it's just like he's building towards something, right? But that could change at any minute now, at any time. And that's just crazy to think about that I hope that there are long-term thinkers in the higher ups, not just at Penn State. I mean, in college sports, intercollegiate college sports, because I don't think the NCAA can or will do that. So, yeah, I mean, we could sit here for days and talking about this over and over. I mean, and I was talking to Chris, and I was like, and I go back to what I said Thursday. What is going to happen? We're okay. We're not in a great situation at Penn State, but we're in an okay situation where we are making money, yes. But now we have to now come up with $22 million more next year.
Yeah.
Now you talk about a school, and I brought this up Thursday. So the one we talk about all the time is West Virginia, or Rutgers. We'll keep it in the Big Ten. Rutgers uses state athletic money, state admissions money type of things to fund some of their athletics. And now they got to come up with $22 million more. Where's that coming from?
It's not.
And that's what I'm saying. So it's like it goes right back to what you said. There's going to be 20 to 30 schools that are going to completely buy in. And will that number dwindle? I think it might, because if there's only 30 schools playing at this level, I mean,
well,
is attendance going to wane? Is this – it's crazy, man.
One of the other –
a lot of the others.
Yes, one of the other things that I think – it's just so much the wild, wild west right now where there just haven't been any parameters put in place. And, part of this is everybody's trying to navigate, all right, well, what parameters can legally be put in place? And one of the things that I think they have to get some kind of a handle on, and I don't know, how you get a handle on it, and two, like even if everybody agrees, all right, we need to be quote unquote fair with this, I'm not sure what fair means. And what I'm talking about here is let's just say the 22 million is what gets divvied up here. Again, we've had many discussions about this.
And this is the profit share.
In that there's let's just say that the conferences all got together and again, right now, let's just start here. Right now, there is nothing talking about or laying out how you have to use that $22 million. So it has to be shared, but it doesn't define who it has to be shared with. I mean, student athletes.
Yes.
But in theory, it's like, well, we know that the quarterback is the guy we need. We're going to give our quarterback $21 million, and then we're going to give the rest of the football team the other million, and they can divvy it up among the other starting positions. And that's how we're allocating our $22 million.
And that quarterback won't make the second quarter.
And somebody else may say, listen, well, I've told you, there's at least one Big Ten school that has told the non-revenue coaches, just so you know, your athletes are getting nothing from this $22 million. All of it. Yep. We're not sure how it's getting divvied up, but it's getting divvied up between football and men's basketball. So you start there that, all right, well, even within that, right, even if you have, all right, well, our conference, let's say the schools get together, the ADs get together, and man, we are going to put parameters in place, and 75% goes to football, 15% goes to basketball, the other 10% gets divvied up, whatever, completely sure, whatever numbers you want to throw out there. But that's how we're doing it in our conference. Okay, except that, again, in the Big Ten, you have Ohio State, which has whatever it is, 34, 36 varsity sports. And I think Northwestern has the fewest, and I'm not even sure if it's maybe 24, 25. Well, so even within that, it's, well, that 10% now, that goes a lot further at Northwestern than it does at Ohio State, because Ohio State's spreading that among, again, I'm making up the numbers, but let's say they're spreading it among 250 athletes, while this school over here is spreading it among 150. Well, those 150 relative to the 250, well, okay, no, then you can pick the sports. Well, again, that's fine as far as it goes, and that's what I think schools are doing. It's what Penn State and Ohio State are doing.
That 10% probably would be set aside for premier athletes in Olympic sports. Your wrestlers, your women's soccer, your women's volleyball, men's volleyball, like baseball, softball. We don't really have that. You know, the swimming and diving, the cross country, the track and field. You know what I mean? There, unless there's like a new face of the program coming in, I think that Penn State,
which you have,
we have in the past.
Well, you have now in track and field. You have a budding freshman star
who
just
money there set aside.
So this is what. So again, nobody knows exactly how this is going to play out, what parameters, if any, are going to be put in place, and whether those parameters are going to be set up. I don't think they're going to be set up, like the $22 million might be set up by the NCAA, but it's going to be either the conferences or just on a school-by-school basis. Excuse me, but I think the conferences are going to want to have some sort of, again, however you define equity, and again, we're going to define it very differently. You know, wrestling is very important in the Big Ten.
Correct.
Ironhead, what do you mean? There's 4 schools that don't even have wrestling. Oh, that's a good point. Well, so are you going to demand? I mean, you're not, obviously. Well, you have to set aside a certain amount for wrestling. Well, that's absurd, because Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA are going to set aside nothing for wrestling, and you will like that if you're the Big Ten. So this is one of the issues, I think, that is just going to make it very difficult. Because, like, you may have some schools that are like, yep, we are all in women's gymnastics. Like, we have a great tradition, great
but they're
great
already
program.
knocked down a whole bunch in number-wise, right? There's not a ton of women's gymnastics competing, and there's even less
correct.
men.
But even men
they got wiped out.
Yes. So how many of the but the men's gymnasts that are there now are, again, you take the worst team in NCAA men's gymnastics and you are talking about elite athletes. Like, you are getting the best of the best that are available there. I mean, Olympians are coming from those rosters on a pretty regular basis. So how all of that gets managed and navigated is going to be a big part of the equation. And again, I don't know how you go about, because even again, wrestling is a big deal in the Big Ten. Well, is it that big of a deal at like Indiana or at I mean, to the coaches and the athletes that are there, of course.
Absolutely.
Do they have some good followings in some of those programs? Yeah, pretty good in some, but certainly, not Iowa, Penn State, or even Ohio State and Michigan. Most of those schools are not getting those types of numbers just in terms of attendance, eyeballs to the TV set, et cetera, et cetera. Hockey's same way. We've been talking for years. Can hockey expand in the Big Ten? Well, it seems unlikely that many sports, if any, are going to do much expansion now. It's a matter of how much they're going to be retracting in terms of the number of programs that they're competing against nationally. Now, again, I think potentially you could have, much like you have in men's gymnastics, again, very, very good programs, like the 30 programs that opt to continue with women's gymnastics, all going to be elite. The 30 that opt to continue with wrestling, the 30 that opt to continue, like, it's going to be high caliber stuff. But the overall number of opportunities that are there nationally is going to drop substantially in terms of, again, quote unquote, big time. Now, the other unknown here, Goon, is how many, and we just don't know. I know for a fact that there are some discussions going on, at the very least in wrestling, among programs that are D1, but that know darn well they're not going to go anywhere near the 30 scholarships.
So we just say,
and no, they're not going to compete. Well, Lock Haven, I mean, Cleveland State just dropped its program, but I mean, you look at like Bloomsburg, Clarion, I mean, schools with proud wrestling traditions that haven't been competitive on the national stage in quite a while.
Because Lock Haven's very competitive,
but want to, Lock Haven has which actually what Scott Moore has done at Lock Haven, because I don't know how many people know, like, they do not offer the full 9.9. I'm not 100% sure where they're at. I don't think they're at 6 yet. They are substantially below what would even, this is before the jump to 30. Well, again, very hard to compete to begin with, for sure, with those programs. And, it's why you don't see Bloomsburg in the top 5. You don't see Clarion in the top 5 now. They can't compete on that level, and haven't been. But it's like, we still want the opportunity, because we know we could get an athlete or two in there, and that's a big deal for our school. Well, can you really, if you end up with 5 to 10 super programs here? Probably not. I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I mean, you're hoping to find that diamond in the rough that's willing to come to your school and not be part of a competitive team. Well, at what point then do those schools start to say, I don't, like, is this worth it? And what happens then? Do they just say, all right, we're done with wrestling? Or can there be, and I just don't know, well, nobody knows the answer to this yet. Is there going to be another, what we've known as Division II? Is that just going to grow the ranks of D2, schools. And again, you're going to have opportunities there at those schools to, I mean, legally, you're not going to be able to stop somebody from, hey, I'll advertise your car dealership. I'm a Division II national champion. So they will have some individual opportunities there, and they can compete. And again, I don't know what the limits are going to be. I don't even know. Actually, I haven't even looked into that.
I have a great idea.
I don't know what the Division II limitations are going to be. Like, do they just stay where they've been? Do they drop?
Is there two AA?
In terms, because they have scholarship opportunities, they're just much less than the D1 schools. Are they holding steady, or are they going to draw? I haven't even looked into that part of it.
Might become breeding grounds for the top tier.
Well, 20. And that's another.
So what you're saying about wrestling, just put that into the gargantuan bowl and say football. There's probably going to be 40 schools that are completely way in who can afford that, all this and that.
Yeah.
But then does that dilute the product? I mean, do you have the TV deals if you only have 40 teams playing or competing at that level? Or are you still pulling in all of that money?
Well, the schedules are going to get a lot tougher. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but the travel. I mean, I got an idea. Let's do something. Let's me and you have some homework this weekend. Get a plan for Division I football, and then we can actually just use wrestling as a division, as in the Olympic sport model.
Okay.
Let's just do that and see what you say and what I think, what could happen. And, because it is so wide open. I'd love to see where we are.
It is.
It's crazy. Like, I got to go back to what Pat was talking about. I mean, that took a lot of, what's to come out there and talk about, what he had to talk about yesterday in the year. Because it's so wide open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no one really, I mean, he could be working on something. He could be busting his chops, and he could be busting his whole administration, his whole athletic department, gearing towards, okay, this is where we're going to be next year. And then 312 days from now, they may change the whole rules right then, and everything they've done has gone to naught. It's absolutely insane.
It is.
But what you're saying about wrestling is, and it's really scary because, you even say it, is that right now, as of right now, you say 3 to 6 schools would be 100% full in. That's Penn State, Iowa, Oklahoma State, that we know those 3 are in for sure.
Yes, although I don't even know that they are all in for like 30 scholarships. And I'm not even sure they are like
that's crazy.
Absolutely in on that. But, somewhere could I see the possibility of those 3 getting there? Yes. Could I see the possibility of a few other schools, maybe in Nebraska, maybe in Ohio State or in Michigan, maybe a couple of others. And again, Capital maybe. I mean, Missouri has some things going for it now. Oklahoma, Iowa State. And then even, the ACC schools like North Carolina State and Virginia Tech, do they are? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to this. Arizona State has been all right, a consistent off and on power, consistent contender. But realistically, I don't see more than 20 schools that would make, and I'm not saying all in even, I'm saying like a big time commitment to wrestling. And I'm not sure 20 feels like it might be a reach, but I could probably come up with 20 schools that I'm like, at least the tradition and the relative success, like you could at least make the argument, man, you should do it. Now, I don't know whether the appetite within those administrations would be there, but, probably 5 or 6 Big Ten schools I could name.
But then do you make them one conference? Do you add in North Carolina, UNC,
right,
UVA, and NC State? Do they join into the Super 20-team conference? Okay, football might be 60, football might be 30. Who knows? I don't know. But do the dual meets become that much more important because you're wrestling, like you're saying about gymnastics, and how elite the programs are because there's 10,000 girls high school gymnasts competing for 120 jobs.
Yeah.
So obviously the wrestling, the teams would be much, much better in the dual meets. Are we now, getting into the NFL scheduling process, but then it hit again. We just sit here and talk in circles, because then it'll come back to, well, the Big Ten and the SEC are not going to give up their names. They're not going to give up those entities at all in football. The Big Ten's not going to give up their entity in wrestling. ACC loves their basketball, but is their football worth having those schools joining in? It's I don't know. We said we could do homework and have some kind of scenario we could each work on, but we do this every show, because when we talk about it, it's like, it's just insane that you could put wrestling into that 20-team conference and then football into a 60-team conference. That's twice the size of the NFL, but your football is going to be so much better on a weekly basis. But then you lose all your conference money. You lose television contracts. I don't know. I mean, it's like that. Does the Big Ten, ACC, SEC, do they? I don't see them disbanding. I guess that's the bottom line. I can't see them disbanding their names, because that is where the money is. The money is in the name Big Ten. The money's in the name the Southeastern Conference. It just means more. Where I don't think that they're going to give that up to. Yeah. I mean, they might have the AFC, NFC being the AF or the SEC and the Big Ten. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that could very well. That could
crazy, man.
Very well be how it ultimately shakes out. All right, we're taking a break here. You're listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We appreciate your doing so. It is a Tuesday afternoon, and we have the privilege of being here at Timberland Federal Credit Union ahead of their grand opening. The public grand opening coming up March 19th here at 161 West College Avenue in Pleasant Gap. Man, if you're able, you really ought to come out and check it out. They have just done a terrific job with the facility, and we are back with more after this.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing and State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU. Timberland Federal Credit Union. A credit union you can grow with.
WFXS,
The Fox, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America. 98.7, The Fox, State College. The Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here. We have replaced the Goon, upgraded to Shane Pence, who's with the Timberland Federal Credit Union here. The dear Goon is, probably off just checking out the food supply before it's really ready to get going here. But he'll be back with us in just a bit. But Shane, first of all, thank you for allowing us to be here today. We are very, very impressed with the facility. Let's start. Just tell us a little bit about you, who you are, and your background here. We're talking about off air, but share it with the on air audience.
That's all right. Well, first of all, thank you guys for doing your show from here. This is great. We're so appreciative of you guys being able to be here. Brand new opening or Pleasant Gap office, 161 West College Avenue in Pleasant Gap. I am the CFO and executive vice president. I know that's a long title for me. I deal with numbers. So that's kind of me. I've been with the credit union now for over 15 years. I've been in credit unions. We don't need to give it a number, but it's a few more than that. So
understood.
I have a lot of experience in credit unions, but brand new facility here. We were so happy. It's the old M&T building, completely redone on the inside. It's really the work they did in here it doesn't even look like the same building.
It does not. I was in there a couple of times, and I'm telling you, this is beyond impressive. And you said this is the first you're seeing it.
It is. We started the renovations back before Christmas in early December. And when it started, I said, I don't even want to see it until it's completely done. So this is the first time I've actually been in this building since November at some point. So almost 4 months ago, but very, very impressed with what they did with everything.
Now, give us a little bit of your background and how you initially got hooked up with Timberland.
Well, it's about 15 years ago. I had worked at another credit union. It was being merged into a different credit union. I'm like, I'm not sure that's the route I want to go. I knew the old CEO at Timberland. I checked to see if they had a position available. They did. My background is in accounting and finance, and they just happened to have a position available. And 15 years later, here I am.
Now, talk for those that aren't familiar with Timberland. What are some of the advantages? What are some of the things that you guys do? Goon's been talking you up, but talk a little bit about Timberland and what you offer.
Well, because we are a credit union, we can tend to offer higher rates on your deposits and lower rates on your loans, which puts more money in your pocket, which with the way the economy is right now, every nickel and dime, that certainly does help.
You are not kidding.
Yes, we recently just ran a 3.99 auto loan special, which right now blows most other financial institutions out of the water.
Big time.
Yes, we have a 4.5% CD for 1 year. We have a 4.25% CD for 6 months. Yeah. So we really try and fill our members' financial needs, wants, and dreams in any way they can think of.
And we have the kind of a soft opening going on this evening. Grand opening will be on March 19th here again, 161 West College Avenue. TimberlandFCU.org is where you can find them on the net if you're interested in learning a little more and maybe doing your banking here. It'd be a wonderful option for you. Talk a little bit about Timberland and where all you are. We touched on it early in the show today, but just give us a little bit of the footprint here of Timberland.
Well, until very recently, we were in 3 counties. We were in Center, Jefferson, and Clearfield County. Our main office is in DuBois, Pennsylvania, which is in Clearfield County. We recently expanded to 11 more counties, are now in 14 counties. So basically, if your county touches Clearfield, Jefferson, or Center County, you can become a member of Timberland Federal Credit Union. We've expanded to Blair, Cambria, Elk County, Clinton County. So we've really extended our footprint. We have almost 10,000 members right now, and we do call the people that walk into our building, you are members, because as you pay $5 to become a member of Timberland Federal Credit Union, you have a say in everything. You get to pick our board of directors. You can come to the annual meeting. You actually do have a say in what happens at the credit union.
And again, this facility is amazing. Are you looking for employees? I guess would be the easy way to ask.
We currently are. We actually have openings in our Clearfield and DuBois offices right now. So we are looking for employees. There will be advertisements out on, am I allowed to say websites? On Indeed.
Yep.
And I think it's Monster is the other one as well, that the 2 websites we use for anybody looking for employment.
And I'll give you a chance to boast a little bit about your staff. We know some of them here pretty well and pretty remarkable people, but tell us a little bit about Timberland, the staff here in Pleasant Gap in particular.
Yeah, well, Pleasant Gap houses the CEO of Timberland, and Joel Slegg, and he brings many, many, many years of both credit union and banking experience. Stephanie Bagshaw is the branch manager. Once again, many, many years of banking and credit union experience. We have Chad Feather, who most people in this area, I think, may know. At least they don't know him. They know his name.
Yes.
He's very, very big in the community. So we have Chad Feather. And if you come in the the doors, you might see Jackie Ishler or Joan Hilliard, who will help you with anything you need at the drop of a hat. And Jared Horner also handles a lot of our back end office stuff, you could say, that nobody really sees. But he's a very, very critical part of the team here in Pleasant Gap.
Yeah, you got to have somebody that can handle the stuff. We know that in radio, there's a lot of stuff that
sure is.
It needs handled, so we're familiar. And we talk about the community. Obviously, we're a sports talk show at a sports talk station. Sports is such a big part of the community. It was interesting. I did not know your background with coaching, but that is one of the things that I think makes this community so special is the relationship with one another. And a lot of those relationships do get formed through sports, whether it's your kids playing sports, your passion for different sports. It's amazing to see the way those connections get made so often.
It is. It's crazy, especially in these small little towns that most of us live in. The local high school teams they're at the core of the town. When they're having a good year, the town seems to be happier and more energetic. So sports are very, very critical to each town that we service.
And finally, you want to talk just a little bit about the March 19th grand opening here at 161 West College Avenue. Obviously open now, right?
Yes, we are open.
So you can come in, but the grand opening, an opportunity for you folks to maybe show off a little bit. And maybe if somebody is interested in learning a little bit more about Timberland, again, you can certainly get information online at timberlandfcu.org. But coming out, seeing it in person and maybe a more casual feel might be a great opportunity for folks.
Yeah, I think if someone comes out and gives us a chance, we've always said we feel like we're Central Pennsylvania's best kept secret. So come out and give us a chance. We've got a high rewards checking account. We offer great rates on loans, great rates on other deposits and CDs. And we like to be involved in our community. We do various fundraisers throughout the year that benefits local high school students. Last year, we gave out $10,000 in scholarships to 4 different students that are now in college. So we look to try and continue to do that every year.
That is terrific. Anything that I didn't ask you about that you're like, hey, more on? I was really wanting to get this information out here this afternoon.
No, one final thing I would just like to throw out right now. May 31st is our annual golf tournament. It's going to be held at Mountain View Golf Course in Boalsburg. It's only $300 a team. So I know a lot of golf tournaments right now are $400 or $500 for a foursome. Yeah. Ours is only $300. And again, all that money benefits our scholarship account, which we then will throw back to local high school students.
That information is on the website to sign up there?
It is on the website, and you can also stop in at any of our 4 branches, and they'll be able to give you more information as well.
Going to go out on a limb and say there might be sponsorship opportunities and or volunteer opportunities.
Yes to both. Yes. And again, we won't turn away any sponsorships or any volunteers. We like to be involved in the community, and any help the community wants to give back, we'll absolutely take.
And again, that is May 31st at the Mountain View Country Club. Again, you can get details on that at timberlandfcu.org. That's timberlandfcu.org. Shane, we really cannot tell you how impressed we are enough with the facility. And thank you for all you and Timberland does for the community. It's appreciated.
Well, thank you. And again, thank you guys for coming out. It's great for the Goon and Ironhead show to be able to broadcast here. And we're thankful you guys are here today.
Well, we absolutely love it. And the dear Goon will join us once again on the other side of this break, which we will take here and now. And yes, we are at Timberland here at 161 West College Avenue in Pleasant Gap. Again, thank you to Shane Pence with Timberland, and we are coming right back.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going with the Happy Valleys 98.7 The Fox, the Goon and Ironhead.
Oh, those guys. We are out at Timberland Federal Credit Union here at 161 West College Avenue in Pleasant Gap. Again, the grand opening will be March 19th, but the soft opening is already here, and you can come on out and check out all that Timberland has to offer in person here at 161 West College Avenue in Pleasant Gap, or you can check them out online at timberlandfcu.org. That's timberlandfcu.org. A huge thank you as well to our normal host on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, Quaker Steak and Lube, for accommodating our visit here today. Of course, Quaker Steak and Lube on Tuesdays has the all-you-can-eat wing buffet. That gets underway right at 4 o'clock. So you can head on out there this evening as well. Enjoy all of those great wings. They do it upright. All of your favorite wings. I think they must just pick the most popular choices, right? Like it is amazing. We've talked about the wings are they're regular wings.
Yes.
Like they're not
their buffet
keeping
wings
you out
either.
on the all you can eat wing buffet and all right, we'll bring in the cheap wings for today. Nope, it's the wings you get every other day of the week. But it's also, at least it must be the most popular, because my favorite have to be the most popular. But it's the Louisiana Liquors, it's the Arizona Ranch,
Don't you
it's
say
the Parmesan.
Okay.
Which ones?
Don't you say Beaver Stadium They're usually the Buckeye. we don't say that. Those
No,
words.
I understand.
Beaver Stadium.
No, they do. They
the
do.
Arizona Ranch, Louisiana Liquors, all that stuff. Yeah. So they have, but if you go there and they do not have the spice that the wing
sauce that you want. Yep.
You order it and they will bring out a whole thing for you. So there's people who don't like wings.
What?
So, yeah, I know there are people out there. They don't like bone. So there are tenders. There are boneless wings, like bigger nuggets, and then you actually have the real strips. But if you are, say you're on a health kick, Jeffrey, you could actually order grilled. They will grill the wings and put them in a special sauce for you, or whatever sauce you'd want, and you would just have a regular piece of grilled chicken.
Just trying to get my head around the idea that there are people that don't like wings.
I don't think they listen to our show.
That is
nor do they go
just
to
absurd.
The lube. So they're going to this. They're going to the lube. Yeah, but I went there. I had lunch there with Chris earlier today, and they released their new menu came out today. They went back to get some patty melts in there, some bunch of chicken sandwiches, bunch of burger melts, turkey melts, and stuff like that. That's what I saw. The quick stuff on that jumped off at me. So I had a little chicken patty melt sandwich, a little Mustang Sally.
There you go.
Chicken bacon barbecue, melted down, and like a grilled cheese with a little bacon on there, and excellent, absolutely fantastic.
Yep, best staff around. You can watch all of your favorite sports while you enjoy great food and beverage. And again, we'll be back there on Thursday at Quaker Steak and Lube here with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. In the meantime, we can also talk some. Well, first of all, Flyers Penguins tonight.
Who?
They will play again on Thursday. Tonight's game is in Philly. Thursday's game is in Pittsburgh. Penn State basketball at Indiana tomorrow. It's Saturday that they're back at the Jordan Center. I was absolutely certain they were at the BJC tomorrow night. They're at the BJC on Saturday,
Maryland,
for the Maryland game, and that is the home finale.
Yeah, then they have a week off, and then they play Wisconsin at Wisconsin.
Yes,
and these are three. I'm not going to say unwinnable games because they are winnable in my opinion. And there are three necessary winnable games. If we are going to try and get into those top 15. I know that the three that we're playing are actually probably in already. So that's one of those things where we only have 3 games left because we actually have a bye in the middle of next week. And most of the teams that we're fighting with right now have 4 games left. We got 3. I believe we're in 17th spot right now, but I could be wrong.
No, we're
so that Washington game 2 weeks ago is just absolutely stuck in my crawl.
With you.
Lord, I made me so mad watching that game. But, it's just, I was talking to somebody about it, like, what happened? Well, Puff Johnson getting hurt, that was an absolute heartbreaker. But then, the heart and soul of the team is Ace Baldwin. And then when you can see it, and then that kid is a tough dude, a tough Baltimore kid.
Yeah.
And you could see him physically in pain playing out there and trying to play through it. And it's just not there. And he actually missed some time, a couple games, a couple of halves here and there. And that really, really, really hurt this team. I think that, it's the big guy, I don't know, Conan Weyerhaeuser or something like that.
Yeah.
Watch him play.
Yannick Conan Niederhauser, yes.
He's a young guy, but he is a problem in the middle. But if you watch him play, and I'm not sitting here saying I was a great basketball player in any stretch of the imagination, but when he falls. He's off his feet a lot, and he's not built sturdy enough, and he's not learned that the physicality of the Big Ten play yet. And he is super young, and when he does learn that, I hope he's still here. Because that's a guy who's 6'11". He actually still might be growing, and he has gotten better each game of the year. You can watch him getting better and better and better. And if he's playing well, this team goes well. And it scares me to think that other teams, other bigger schools might be coming in here and trying to lure him out of here because he is – everybody's looking for a good big man. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened in the last 30 years, but – the dominant big men in college basketball, I mean, they're few and far between anymore. I grew up in an era where you had Shaquille O'Neal, you had Shaq, you had Patrick Ewing when I was a little kid, Alonzo Mourning, So I hope that he is here next year. I really do. And I think that will the Ace Baldwin, NIL money that he had made this year just transfer over to him. Hopefully that keeps him here. But, I mean, that's definitely a guy that is a key towards next season, towards making that next step for Coach Mike Rhodes. And I texted Rhodes last week, and I said, hey, man, keep fighting, don't quit. I said, I've noticed this about your team, that they actually haven't quit. You can see a team when they quit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get updates on the Sixers last night. They were down 50 points at one point in the game last night. So that's a team who's quitting. I don't see that on our basketball team. And I texted Rhodes and I gave him that compliment. He says, Goon, they're never going to quit. I'm never going to quit. No one's going to outwork us, this and that. And that's just how Coach Rhodes is. And, the future is bright, in my opinion. I expected more this year with the start that we had. I think you did too,
for sure.
The difference in the basketball team and the hockey team pre-January 1st is just absolutely insane to think about, because hockey was struggling and basketball was doing great, and they've completely role reversed here. But basketball 2 in a row now. They got a little momentum right now. They have a little bit of a goal, and that is to get into that 15 and play in the Big Ten tourney. You never know what's going to happen there. But, I mean, they just want to get to that point where they're playing in the Big Ten tourney.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that would be
and you're
wonderful.
Yeah, that would be a monstrous thing. And, it's a lot of stuff's got to happen for that to happen, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting listening to Niederhauser after the Minnesota game talk about the one of the things that is obviously key for this team is keeping him out of foul trouble, and he talked about how much work he has put in on that. He and the coaches have put in on that, and that's probably been the thing. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it sounded like that's kind of the thing that he's been working on the most is figuring out how to play effectively without picking up those fouls. Obviously did a great job of that in the Minnesota game. And listen, we talk about this all the time in sports, and I think sometimes it doesn't always click when fans or even coaches or even players think it should. It's like, man, I'm putting in all this work. I know I have the ability, and it's not working. But I'm telling you, if you have that talent, and he clearly has the talent, and you put the work in, and he's clearly putting the work in, at some point that will come together, and it will pay off. Now, it's not always, again, right away when you want it. It's one of the things that it just amuses me sometimes with wrestling fans. It's like somebody gets here and they're like midway through their freshman year, and it's, man, I thought this guy was going to be a stud. And it's like, not everybody comes in.
It's a backup heavyweight.
And
some people are giving him some trouble.
It is a phenom right out of the gate. And I got news for you. Even the phenoms weren't actually phenoms right out of the gate. There's a transition there, and I don't care how elite you are coming out of high school. Like Bo Bassett, when he goes to Iowa, there's going to be a transition there. Now, might be a couple of months, and he picks it up, and all right, we're off and running. David Taylor, when he redshirted here, I'm telling you, the first couple of months, and it's all relative. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he was just getting crap beat out of him by everybody in the room. But I'm telling you, he was getting the crap beat out of him by some individuals in that room who were not nearly as elite a talent as David Taylor was. But it did not take him long. By January, he had figured some things out. And it's like, all right, this is what I need to do to compete at this level. It just feels like Niederhauser, I think going into next year, has a really good base now. And I'm sure it started at Northern Illinois, but I think he, throughout this season has picked some things up. I think he'll finish. I do think he's staying here, and I think he'll finish up his career strongly next season. But I think he is a guy that next year can really apply. He was just so thoughtful with the post-game interview in terms of kind of recognizing where he has grown and where he needs to grow. And again, sometimes it doesn't come just like that. Sometimes you have to go through some trials and tribulations, and that's what coach was talking about in practice. You see it a couple of times in the game. It's like, oh yeah, man, I am picking up cheap fouls because I'm not moving my feet this way, or I'm not, just keeping my feet planted in this situation. It's a learning process. And so anyways.
I want to jump on this because I did Landon's thing last night. He and I had a cigar over the cigar den and did a little interview with the Letterman, Legends and Letterman's cigar. We were just talking. And I said, Landon, I think one of the biggest differences in our generations, other than, we're sitting there, the money, and we talk about the weightlifting and the nutrition, how these guys at a younger age, not when they get to Penn State, I'm talking about when they were in high school. They are much more, and I'm sure the wrestlers are leaps and bounds, ahead of where you were when you were 16, 17 years old,
Yeah.
So me and Landon and I were talking like, I didn't start until my third year. You know what I mean? And then there's other guys. I mean, I actually take that back. I had to start my third year, and then I wasn't a full-time starter until my fourth and fifth year. So that nowadays is looked down upon like, wow, you're not starting as a freshman or sophomore, or you're not getting significant time. And I hope that this changes when we go back to 105 scholarships, where you're not, I try to tell it. I said, I didn't play offensive tackle in high school. I played center and I played defensive end. And I played defensive end. That's where I was All-American and all that stuff. I didn't know how to play offensive line. So everything I was taught from scratch when I got here, but nowadays I would probably have been considered a bust because I did not start on full time until my fourth year.
It's interesting because I think a couple of things have changed there, because I've had discussions with coaches and others about this, football, wrestling, and even like baseball, softball, across the board. One of the things that I really do think has changed pretty dramatically is the experience that these kids, whatever the sport may be, have now before they get to college. When I was in school, and I'm guessing it was much the same way for you, like we had a couple of kids in a couple of sports who maybe traveled here or there for a competition, but we didn't have like the traveling teams that are available now, like the year round.
You had Blue League Baseball All-Stars, right? Did you have
travel
that?
teams? We did, but even that wasn't, and it wasn't like it wasn't what it is now. At least we but we weren't even aware of. I wasn't aware of even the significance of that. Like I was like kind of aware that some kids get selected to the All-Star team, but like on the wrestling front, I mean, these kids, part of why you didn't have many freshman starters was they needed that year or two to adjust to the college style, to get a feel for the competition. No matter how good the competition was in high school, it wasn't what you're facing. Well, now these guys, I mean, a lot of them have been facing top competition relative to their age from the time they were in elementary school, but have faced top competition across the country and across different age groups now, from like middle school on. And so they are more college ready coming out of high school, at least from a physical standpoint, and maybe in many cases academically too, because a lot of them now, and again, not just in wrestling, like they're going to prep schools or they're getting specific counseling, academic counseling I'm talking about, football, basketball to hey, we know you need to get, these grades to get to Duke. You need to get these grades to get to wherever. And so there's like very specific aspirations, and there's a lot more exposure to camps.
Yep.
And even if you can't get, all right, well, I can't, my family would love for me to do that. We can't afford it, whatever. Well, there is so much now available, even on video. Like you can construct, all right, that you can go watch NFL quarterbacks show you this is how you throw the football. This is what you need to be looking for. This is the footwork. So I do think there's more preparation in terms of, all right, this is what you need to do to be college ready, than by a long shot than when we were in school.
I remember going and doing Brandon Noble and Booch, the first time that I had done the obligatory podcast. And me and Brandon were talking in the preseason. It's like, if you're expecting kids to come in as a freshman or a redshirt freshman to be your starting off, if you're expecting that, you don't have a great program.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what you have. And that's what's separating Penn State football right now from a lot of places and from where Penn State was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We are going to have 3 starting offensive tackles next year. Now, which 3 are going to play?
Yeah.
You have 3 very competent, very good offensive tackles.
Yep.
Now, who is going to be not starting on that team? And that's a good thing to have. That is a very, very, very good thing to have. So, and then the other thing I want to talk about is the sports-specific stuff. You know what I mean? When guys go, I don't want to play baseball because I got to worry about my tennis career, or I'm not playing football because I got to worry about wrestling, or I'm not wrestling with football and baseball and all that. And I don't appreciate that, but that is a thing now. I have guys that are, I'm at that age, you're at that age. When you have kids, you have friends who have kids that some of them are in college, some of them are 10, 12 years old. But the difference in the kids that are done at college now and then the kids that are younger right now is this, like, I got to send my kid to this trainer. Oh, I got to do this. And so they got to get a scholarship. This is a 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid. It's just it drives you absolutely nuts on looking at it from the outside.
Yes. Yes. And this is the other part of it. So if you have a kid who just is naturally gravitating to, man, I just love baseball. Like, that's what I want to do. Cool.
Yep.
Like, man, I'm not interested in baseball. I'm not interested. Most kids, though, like the overwhelming majority of kids, if you either like sports or you don't. Now, you might not like all sports, obviously, but I mean, the chances that you're just locked in on one sport are pretty small. Especially if you're having some success as an athlete. If you have some strength, you have some speed, you have whatever attribute that allows you to excel. I worry about the number of kids at younger and younger ages that are locked in on one sport. And it's like, well, Tiger Woods. Well, yeah, okay. Those are the 1 in a million. And you can do it with every sport, like David Taylor. Yep. And David Taylor has talked about it. We've had some really good discussions over the years. David Taylor can tell you the number of kids, like, he genuinely loved wrestling. Like, I mean, just obviously had breathed it, a natural proclivity for it, but also just enjoyed it. Like, that is what he had a passion to do. He has talked about a lot of kids who were equally or even more successful than him at a younger age. They started dropping out. Some in high school, like early high school, like, nah, I'm burned out. This is too much. Some as he went through high school, it's like more and more kids. I'm like, oh, I've had enough. And he's like, I couldn't get enough of it. Like, I wanted to learn more. I wanted to try to be more successful, but I was always interested in, again, if you have a kid that is like a protege and that, man, this is what they want to do, The chances of you having that kid, though, understand, are pretty small. Like, there's not a lot of them out there. I just think you're better off allowing, at least up until high school, the competitive fire to be shown in a wide variety of sports. Different sports complement each other. Now, I will say, I think it is getting more and more difficult, and you are seeing fewer athletes who are able to excel at the collegiate level without starting to zero in on a sport. That still happens. I mean, I'm not saying it's like completely rare, but more and more as kids are going through high school, it's like, all right, yep, I'm a football player. This is where I'm going to go. And there's many fewer three-sport athletes for sure when I was coming through.
I think that football parallels very well with wrestling and basketball.
For sure.
So those, but I don't see.
And wrestling and cross country have always had a synergy there. And listen, there are a lot of athletes who are doing 2 or 3 sports
because they benefit from each.
Correct. Yes. And I do think there's something to be said for fueling the competitive fire. Like I think almost as important and maybe more important really than developing skill sets and whatever your sport may be is having that competitive edge. We kind of joke sometimes about Penn State Wrestling and the dodgeball and some of the pre-practice competitive antics. But yes, it's to keep the guys fresh and making it a fun environment. But it is also, man, we're honing the competitive nature. Like you can see,
look at Kale's golf team.
Well, yes.
That's the funniest thing about Penn State Wrestling.
You either have the competitive fire or you don't.
I don't think Kale has ever lost his own golf tournament. I mean, that team is jacked.
There might have been one year, and then
I think Bastardi's kid, he
made sure it didn't happen again.
Joe got a super team out there. I got a great story for you, Ironhead, but I have another story before. So this is long before I even moved here. I was living down south. I had a girlfriend who was she trained horses and rode horses, showed them all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a niece, my brother Buck's daughter, was very in horses and stuff like that. And my girlfriend made a comment to me, and she says, well, it's about age 16 when a girl realizes, like, until that age, I'm either going to get a license and go chase guys or girls, or I'm going to stay with this horse thing. And that parallel it rang the bell with me. It's about that time when you have guys like David Taylor says that he was getting his butt kicked by these guys, but 5 years later, he was out there destroying them because they didn't have that fire to go out and get better like he did and every day get better. So my senior year in high school, I told my father and my basketball coach, listen, I'm a full scholarship player to Penn State. I'm not going to play basketball this year. I just wanted to go drink and have a party and chase tail. Long story short is that my basketball coach was like, okay, well, why don't you give it a day? We'll think about it. So I get home from school that night, and my father is waiting for me. He's like, hey, buddy, let's have a talk. And I said, what's going on? He goes, I heard you're not playing basketball. And I was like, oh, how'd you hear that? He goes, I just hear things. And I'm like, okay, I can tell. I can put 2 and 2 together. The basketball coach stopped by my dad's shop. And he says, well, Dad, I said, I'm a football player, I got to get bigger. I'm only 245 pounds. I got to get bigger. Got to get stronger. And he goes, hey, listen, what time you done class? I said, 2:15. He goes, don't worry. I'll be at the school at 2:30 every day. I'll pick you up, and you can lift and beat up as many tires as you want until 6 o'clock that night, and you can get as big and strong as you want. And I was like, okay. I'm going to play basketball, Dad. I'm going to go back to playing basketball. So, it's a running joke between my high school basketball coach and myself. And his greatest recruiting trip was getting my father on board to say, you know what, all your kids are going to want. We can't do anything without your son. So he's the glue to keep us all together. So, and I just was fooling myself, just saying I just wanted to go around chase chicks and go out party and stuff like that. Where I was trying to mask that as well. I got to get bigger and stronger for Penn State, but my father He'd been around the block a few times.
Pretty sharp.
Yep. Wasn't his first rodeo.
No, indeed. Yeah, it's I don't know.
It's funny hearing David Taylor talking about getting his butt kicked. So how did you handle that Feburary thing? Do you think he was taunting David when he flashed the 3?
I don't know. I don't get. I mean, honestly,
that was a high intensity match, man. I mean, that
was a great. Yeah. I had a couple people ask me. I'm like, I think I was going to wrestle Feburary, and I think he will beat Plot. I just having seen him wrestle Starachi, I'm like, I don't know that he can beat Starachi or Kikaisen right now, but he can obviously keep it really close.
Do you think they're going to wrestle him in the Big Tens and Nationals?
I don't.
They're going to redshirt him and save him?
Yeah. No, it just wouldn't make any sense. Tom Brand's whatever Penn State fans want to say about him, he's not dumb. And the difference between Gabe Arnold and him in terms of points scored at the NCAA tournament, if you take that difference, it's the difference between Penn State between Iowa finishing second or second at the NCAA tournament. Like, it's not that's not going to be, and maybe they finish third to Oklahoma State. Again, at the end of the day, they're trying to build a championship program. He's not going to come out publicly and say that, but they recognize that it is highly unlikely anyway that anybody other than Penn State's going to win it this year. I think they feel like they have a chance to make some headway next season, but even just from the individual standpoint, and I think it's a combination of, again, that team expectations and managing, trying to make runs at titles. Yep. But also, I think you're trying to be fair to the kid. And Feburary clearly has the talent that he could be a 4-time champion. And by the way, I'm not saying if he did wrestle this year, there's no chance he can't beat Kikaisen or Starachi. I'm just saying I think it's more unlikely. Those are two really elite wrestlers. And Feburary obviously is elite as well. They have a lot more experience. Now, again, I'm not sitting here telling you no way Feburary, if he did wrestle, couldn't win it. It's just from the Iowa coaching perspective. All right, he's going to have to pull off probably 2 pretty substantial upsets to accomplish it this year. Both of those guys are gone next year. Now, there's some other Penn State, I think, is going to be a factor there at 84 next year as well. But I think they're looking at it saying, listen, we really think this guy could be a 4-time champion.
Who's the kid?
Getting the experience from this year and then building into next year with the top 2 guys clearing out. Man, this could open up a really special career for Feburary.
Alan Arnold?
Gabe Arnold.
Gabe Arnold.
Yeah.
What year is he?
He is a redshirt freshman this year.
So who would go up or down in weight? Do you think that Feburary? I mean, it looks like Feburary.
Feburary can probably go.
He can put some weight on.
He will go where he wants to go, and then others will adjust.
Did you see his brother's antics this weekend?
Yes,
that's unbelievable. And then the president of the freaking school gives him a hug after he gives a double bird salute.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Oh man, clown show.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that, Jeff. I could say that.
All right. We will take we're not going to take a break. Well, we'll take an extended break, about a 2-day break, and then we will be back, 46-hour break. We will be back on Thursday at our normal home, back at Quaker Steak and Lube. Looking forward to that. Again, a huge thank you to Shane Pence, to Joel Schlagen, and all of the folks here at Timberland for allowing us to do the show here today. TimberlandFCU.org on the net, and you can find them here at 161 West College Avenue in Pleasant Gap. The grand opening again will be on March 19th. You can also get information at TimberlandFCU.org on their golf tournament coming up May 31st at Mountain View Country Club. Folks, we will talk to you again on Tuesday. We will come to you from Quaker Steak and Lube once again Until then, be good and be safe.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing and State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
WFXS, once again.
The Fox, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.